The topic of learning for the session is abbreviations and acronyms. Abbreviations and acronyms are shortened forms of words or phrases. An abbreviation is typically a shortened form of word used to represent the whole, such as a doctor or a professor, while an acronym contains a set of initial letters from a phrase that usually form another word, such as radar or scuba. See, what we can see over here is, for instance, we take these two examples, that is radar or scuba. When we look at it as a word, as a whole word, well, we pronounce it as radar. But what we need to know is each of the letters in this, the word so-called radar, stands for another word altogether. I mean, every letter exists as another word in that acronym. So that's how we look at acronyms and abbreviations. So then what is the difference between an acronym and an abbreviation? Abbreviations and acronyms are shortened forms of words. That's what we already learned. What we need to know is abbreviations and acronyms are often interchanged, yet the two are quite distinct. So how is that understood? Well, the main point of reference is that abbreviations are merely a series of letters, while acronyms form new words. That's exactly what we were trying to discuss when I took the example of these two words, that is radar and scuba. For instance, you look at the word scuba. Well, I'm reading it as a word. No, you also get to hear it as a word. Whereas there are 5 letters which exist before we actually pronounce that as a single word. So each of these 5 letters in that word stand for yet another word. Okay, when we get to practice acronyms and abbreviations, you'll get to know what these letters stands also. For all I know, I think it is uh, how every letter has to exist on its own. It's actually referring to some underwater breathing apparatus or something. So likewise, how can we learn, or how can we differentiate between acronyms and abbreviations is all we are going to know over here. Each one allows writers to make large blocks of text easier to read. Beware that both abbreviations and acronyms are typically considered informal and should be carefully considered before including them in formal writings. Well, that's totally up to us, how we wish to learn or how we wish to put them into practice. That is what you're supposed to understand over here is the use of abbreviations or acronyms is completely informal if you look at it. There's a great deal of overlap between abbreviations and acronyms. It's worth pointing out that an acronym is a type of an abbreviation because acronyms are shortened forms of words and phrases. Okay, if we take a closer look at abbreviations, see, for instance, when you say Mrs. Wesley, okay, so it is, or Mr. What we generally look at it is, you just put 2 letters over there, M and R, and which is accompanied by a dot, which is actually MISTER, okay, or hour, that is hour as in a clock hour. It's actually HOUR, but then the shortened form of it is HR. So that's how abbreviations work. So there are millions of common abbreviations used every day. So these are only some of the examples that we're taking over here. Okay, see, you can see some examples here also. For example, advanced graphics port. So what is that? We are just taking probably the beginning letters which form up. For instance, in the word advanced, the first 2 letters which come in the beginning of the word have been taken over there. So that's how the abbreviation for advanced graphics port becomes ADGP. So yeah, sound effects is also similar. They've taken an S from sounds and FX. Okay, actually, you will not find the letter X over there in FX, but then that's how the abbreviation has been chosen. So that's how it becomes informal. We were already warned about that. So here are a couple of more examples: animation, archetype. These are all so many other examples the for the same topic, that is abbreviations and acronyms. Okay, that means, for example, when you write your address, you're likely to write Saint or Ave instead of street. Saint in the sense, suppose STREET, street. You can simply write ST. That's where you're again using an abbreviation while you're writing your own address. Often we use the abbreviation EX. So I don't think there are any prizes for guessing that. EX is another shortened form for the very often used by all of us as students and teachers, that is examples. And apart from that, versus, VERSUS. So how does that work? That is VS, another shortened form of that. We have these months, names of months: January, February, March, December. So how do we do that? This is something that we have learned it right from, all of us were kids. December, DEC, January, JAN. That's again how you look at abbreviations. Coming to acronyms. An acronym technically must spell out another word. This is a good point of reference to help you distinguish between abbreviations and acronyms. Another good way to differentiate between them is that acronyms don't just shorten words, they often simplify a long organization name, scientific term, or idea. That's what I tried to hint at when I took a couple of examples at the beginning of the discussion. Some acronyms create new words that are so commonly used, we forget they're actually a series of letters from a longer word or phrase. For example, when we go to scuba diving, we rarely consider the fact that scuba is an acronym of self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. That's what we tried to. I almost attempted trying to, come up with what every letter stands out there in the word called scuba. So then there are initialisms which cause some confusion. Would you consider VIP to be an acronym? Technically, it is an initialism. Initialism is a series of initial letters of words or a phrase that form an abbreviation but aren't pronounced as a word. We enunciate each other. That's what I could not, be explicit about that, but this explains it. So NBA is yet another initialism. How about when you text that's another initialism, as it is BLT. Many consider initialisms to be a subset of acronym. Therefore, whether you pronounce ASAP as a word or enunciate each letter, it's still an acronym, but be aware that others say it as another form of abbreviation. So it's up to the speaker's discretion whether they would like to use it as an enunciation, that is, you spell out every single letter over there. For instance, in ASAP, you can say ASAP, or you can just say ASAP, that is enunciating. So it's totally up to the speaker how they wish to use it in that manner. So another example that we can see over here is NY is the acronym for New York. Obviously, the city New York, the first letters of both the parts of the city have been taken there as an acronym over there. So yeah, you can see that a lot of examples being shown, beautiful examples, not beautiful, very common, most often used words: ATM, BRP, LOL. Now this seems to be a lot of contemporary technical, not technical, but the language that is used on technical platforms or social networking apps and all. So BRB seems to be right back. I guess the learners, that is, the students are the ones who know much better with regard to these acronyms. ROFL, rolling on the floor laughing while texting. That's what I tried to say. Okay, now ellipsis is not particularly there in the curriculum, but never mind if we get to learn something additional. So this is actually one sort of a symbol that is used to create an effect for a pause. So that is how it is. What are the features that would be enlisted under ellipsis is given over here. To create a pause, undoubtedly, to show an unfinished thought, and also to show a trail off into silence. That's beautiful. So how are these pauses and silences indicated are given by way of these examples. That's the beauty of language. And here you have a bit of literary part also taking shape over here in these examples. That is, the atmosphere is tranquil and you cannot hear the trains. So you can see that by way of those dots that are present over there. So that is indicating to the reader that there could be something that could have been omitted over there. So you can see all the examples over here. Yeah, well, you can just, so what the speaker wanted to say has apparently not been completed over there. So what is not being completed over there is basically called as the unfinished thought. So that's where the ellipsis is doing its job over there. Yes. What else? What else can an ellipsis do? When using an ellipsis to show that words are missing from a quotation, it is a common practice to put square parentheses. Okay. So he would eat. So these are the things that this he could basically eat. That is again indicated by these.